at one point you would think, okay, maybe he misspoke, but he overuses or rather uses the term rape over and over throughout this interview with Congresswoman Nancy Mace. $15 million, that was the price of it.
Well, this is a very unique and narrow area of the law, and the president-elect was wise to pounce on it, in my view. This is what's called libel per se, when you accuse a person of committing a crime which they did not commit. So if he had said sexual assault instead of rape, there'd be no case here. But because he said rape, which the jury expressly rejected in that case, this is not a matter of knowledge of falsehood or reckless disregard for the truth, which is normally the standard in a defamation case when the plaintiff, Donald Trump, is a public person. This is that narrow area where he doesn't have to prove that the statement was defamatory. Because it accuses him of a crime, it's defamatory per se. Where did the $15 million come? That's just what they agreed on.
Yeah. The fact that it ended in a settlement, though, does that surprise you?
No. Well, first of all, the president of the United States doesn't want to have to testify in a courtroom. Well, the president-elect, he'll be president in a month. And secondly, ABC News does not want to have to put George Stephanopoulos on the stand to say, that's insane. Where did you come up with it? And you said it 5 times. So they saved themselves time and aggravation and embarrassment and legal fees, although ABC is paying Trump's legal fees by settling the case as they did.
Yeah, $1 million in legal fees, $15 million, and then an apology as well.
You know, if he had said Trump is a jerk, okay, that's an opinion. It's a protected opinion.
Yeah.
There's no defamation action there. But because he said a crime for which Trump was never convicted, it's libel per se.
I wanted to play this of how it's covered from MSNBC. We have that tape. Here's that moment.
Shout out to the standards department. Okay, standards is always making sure that we are keeping the bar high and substantive and accurate. But what George Stephanopoulos said in that interview, I mean, it seems to hold up with what the judge said after the fact. And now his news organization and himself, George Stephanopoulos himself, is paying $1 million of his own money to the lawyers, and ABC at $15 million. It's insane.
Did you want to comment on that in terms of how this is being handled by, again, a legacy media outlet?
They should understand the significance of what George Stephanopoulos said. And George, just like us, have to comply with standards. We can give opinions, but you cannot accuse a person of a crime unless they've been convicted of that crime. Otherwise, you bear the consequences. I did not know he was paying the $1 million out of his pocket. I don't know if that's true.
That's the first time I've heard that, too.
If that's true, that is substantial. But again, back to your question, to avoid the trial, to avoid discovery, to avoid all the heartache that accompanies litigation. Correct.
All that stuff. Meantime, the New York Times is running with this, and they interpret this settlement to mean something more in what we could see in a Trump administration when it comes to even some of the picks to lead FBI and Department of Defense. If we've got it, we can show the viewers here. But writing that attorneys for high-profile nominees Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel have warned journalists of defamation lawsuits for things they've said or written. So does this become more of a trend in the Trump administration, or is it just accountability?
I hope it doesn't, because we make our living by expressing our opinions. And opinions are protected, except when they get into this narrow area of accusing somebody of a crime. But journalists, whether they're here or at another facility, should not hesitate to express an opinion for fear of the consequences. However, you got to get your facts correct. Stephanopoulos ought to have known that the jury absolved him. She accused him of rape. Jury said no.